Helen.
Hello, fellow Toastmaster and honored guest. Imagine waking up one day and everything you thought you knew about the economy has drastically changed. I remember back in 2019, I loved this Chinese beef noodle soup and I paid $8 for it. This year I paid $16 for it. They increased 100%. So what I wanted to tell you about is the US government national debt crisis. It's going to get worse, exponentially worse. I'm here to warn you about it. The US national debt is more than $35 trillion in 2024. And the interest payment on the debt is a big concern as well. As US accumulate more debt, the interest payment is growing. So our government needs to pay interest payments to whoever we borrow this money from, which includes, does anybody know? China, yeah. Number 2, Japan. Number 3,
England.
yeah, very good. You get another cake.
I'm in effect fasting now.
So US borrow a lot of money, and those are the highest category, the largest amount of money. And number 4 is other financial institution. If anybody's interested in insurance, Billy is from a financial institution. Number 5, corporations. And number 6, anybody that owns a US bond. Does anybody own a US bond here? No one? Oh, very good. Thank you for buying our national debt. I want to connect the dots for you. Why is this a crisis? Why is inflation getting worse? The government choose hyperinflation over deflation. Now let's look at our federal government's major incomes. What do you think is our major income?
Taxes.
Taxes, great. From who?
Us.
Oh yeah! Oh, you guys are so knowledgeable. Dang. Number 1, income tax. Number 2, what's number 2? What? Anybody?
Sales tax.
Social Security. Social. That's the major expense that our government have. How about number 3? Anybody? Medicare, great. Number 4?
Debt payment.
Corporate tax. It's Google. They don't pay that much. We pay all the bills. So the total income for fiscal year 2024 is $5 trillion that we expected to pay at the end of this fiscal year. So what do we really spend on? So we will expect to spend $7 trillion. That's $2 trillion more than what we make. We only make $5 trillion and we spent $7 trillion. And so now you ask, well, what are we spending our payments on? You guys already said. Number 1, spending. My husband's retiring this year. Social Security.
Army.
Huh?
Army.
Army.
Spend.
Oh, yeah.
Army.
Number 2 is Medicare. Number 3 is interest payments. We'll be making $1 trillion of interest payment out of the $7 trillion that we're paying. And healthcare. So there you go. Number 5, $777 billion in national defense, going to all over the world, making wars or protecting countries. Our interest payment, as I said, is $1 trillion. And spending too much for interest means spending less for other services. Now, the election's coming up, and so in California or in other states, the politicians is going to propose other things to create more taxes that we need to pay, so we'll be more in debt. So be careful of that. Even though things are good for people who are hurt, like reprobation proposal, $1 million per person, that could be $20 trillion if we pay for that. And 150,000 loan for undocumented immigration, that could be 300 billion. So the Federal Reserve can cut interest rates, but this is only a temporary solution. We could print more money, sure, yeah, they're printing it, but that will cause inflation. And I already said my beef noodle soup is now $16. The US government is overspending with no spending cuts. It doesn't matter who is in the office, Trump or Kamala, they will continue to spend. They probably want to spend more so we can vote for them for whatever interests that we want them to do. So maybe an advancement in AI. We have Tim there. Advancement in AI will help us lower our debt, but not really. So what shall we do as little people here? So we must consider investing in financial assets. You probably all know. Not to get rich, but to protect yourself from inflation. So number one, buy a home. You can have a home, buy another one. If you don't have one, hurry up and, save some money to buy one. Number two, invest in stock market. Not to get rich again, but just to keep up with inflation. I have a coworker that put all her money in stable income fund. How much does she make? 2%. I try to make 20% from large cap, but it's not very successful. So choose a quality stock to buy. The top 10 stock that the pension buys in the country, you should buy one of those. Like Microsoft was in beginning of last year was if you bought it October last year, it's 40%. It's up 40%. So buying good stock will be a hedge for protection. So anyways, in summary, I have let you know there's a national crisis and the 3 things to do to help yourself. Oh, one last thing. Buy some silver and gold coins. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen, for sharing the knowledge.